Hey everybody, your friendly neighborhood Glenn here, and thanks so much for tuning in to No Vacancy Live. Okay, you've probably already figured out by now today is going to be just a bit different. That's because we're doing a pre-recorded show with some of the great interviews that I got last week while attending the lodging conference. Plus, I'm at another big conference today, and I don't have the ability to do a live show. Why? Because I'm sitting in a general session right now, assuming you're watching this live. Anyway, we got some great interviews with you, including something with the CEO of Wyndham Hotels and Resorts, Geoff Ballotti over there. I don't think I said that sentence right, but you know what I mean. Also, their Chief Development Officer, Chip Ohlsson, and the mastermind behind Peachtree, Greg Friedman. You're going to really like this one. Lots of great insights, information that you are going to be able to turn into something to help improve your business out there. So thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate your support.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another little mini-sode of No Vacancy Live. Of course, I'm Glenn Houseman. I'm super excited today because I have got a coup. I haven't had a chance to speak on air with this gentleman in, I think, since 3 years. We're talking about Geoff Ballotti of Wyndham. Geoff, so great to see you. Pinch me. Is this real? Is this happening?
Come on. We've been talking on and off the last 3 years, and I know you've had many of our team members on this show. I'm overexposed. I'm trying to get folks like Lisa Checchio and Chip Ohlsson, and you need Scott LePage on the show.
Listen,
we've got an amazing lineup.
I take that overexposed comment very seriously because all the light that's coming down on you. It's not my fault. I didn't mean to overexpose him in that way. But let me tell you, Geoff, I love what you're doing over at Wyndham. But before we get into that, I got to ask you a question. What is the secret for you? You're so effusive. You make great connections with people. You make people feel comfortable immediately, like they're your friend. What's the secret to doing that and engaging people to make them want to like you and do business with you?
Oh, I don't think I do anything more than you do, Glenn. I'd look back. I led a blessed life. My dad ran a charity fund, and we grew up going from soup kitchen to homeless shelter, and learned it all from my dad. I would say that was my secret in my upbringing, was just realizing how lucky in my life and now my career, I've had it. It's all about our relationships. It's all about our connections with people. Well, my dad was my hero, and that was my secret in life, was getting to follow him around for so many years. He unfortunately died unexpectedly at the age of 54.
Oh gosh!
Eastern Airline shuttle. He was down in New York City raising money for the Boston Permanent Charity Fund. But look, it's all about relationships. It's all about the most important thing that I think all of us will be remembered by. And I think about Mahul, who's up next here, and our young professionals session. When we played that very poignant interview with Mark Elliott, being interviewed by Mitch Shaw, who said that what matters most in our careers, what matters most in our lives is what matters most is how we're remembered when we leave this earth, and that is the secret of all of our success when it comes to relationships, and something
but you're just so genuine. Maybe that's what it is. But I don't want to. I mean, I do want to talk about you the whole time, but I also want to talk about this event over here, right? So last night, as we were recording this, what a great party! It felt like there's a lot of energy here. Is that the same type of feeling you're starting to feel again as hopefully our industry gets reborn?
You know, it's interesting. I was listening to your show last night. I just landed. I'd just been picked up at Phoenix. Had gotten off a full American Airlines flight, and was listening to how uncomfortable your guests were saying that this wasn't going to be normal. In fact, they were telling us all that we need to ease into this. There was no easing into last night. I think everybody felt completely normal, and everybody's felt completely normal all day long, and will feel completely normal tomorrow. And for our forward event coming up on Thursday, I've just been amazed at, and I was amazed at AHOA. I mean, if you think you and I were both at AHOA, 5,500. I've heard today 6,400 actual paid attendees were there. We weren't easing in to that at all. It just came back as naturally and as normally as it could be for our industry, for these attendees of our industry, and hopefully that'll be the same for so many other industries as they start to meet again, as we now are. I mean, to think that this show is at capacity, that this is a record attendance with over 2,000 attendees here. To think that AHOA had over 6,000
it's amazing.
attendees, and everybody felt very comfortable. Everybody felt very normal, and it's just a lot of fun to be back.
So
out.
with everybody feeling normal, everybody being back out, how does that inform you on where you think your business is going to be going in the future, and where do you see most opportunities?
Yeah, we've been talking all day about just this. You've been talking all day, and all your show. You've been talking all pandemic since.
I know nobody can keep me quiet. I keep
Memorial Day
trying,
onwards. And when you think that Memorial Day was the busiest Memorial Day this industry's ever seen, July 4th was stronger than Memorial Day. Labor Day was a stronger holiday than July 4th was, and that it has now been 26 consecutive weeks.
That's great.
26 consecutive weeks where economy RevPAR has run ahead of 2019, not just by a little bit, but by 16%. And that the strength is, everybody's talking about the strength and rate, which is great to see, but it's there in OC as well. And it's there in the mid-scale. And where is it the strongest? It's in leisure. It's in leisure transient. That's coming back. What now needs to follow? What we're seeing here at the show, what we saw at AHOA is certainly that group and convention and meeting destination business that's so important to our industry with what everything you've been reporting on and Chip's been talking about, the jobs lost and the need for that business to come back.
And of course, the Chip you're talking about is Chip Rogers, the HLA,
Rogers,
not your very own Chip Ohlsson, who's also appearing on
who I
show.
thought had the best panel discussion I've participated in a long
Really?
time. I mean, that was just sheer brilliance today. I don't know if you got to see it.
I did not, because I was stuck here behind the mic. But
what he did was put all of us up on the stage with the Menti app, which is a very cool app, asking what it will take to get this industry back and traveling again. The audience voted, and we were not able to see the results. We were then asked to vote, and he then got to pick on those of us who got the answer wrong.
Oh boy!
In terms of what it will take to get this industry back to where we were pre-pandemic. It was a lively session. And,
so what did you learn, Geoff?
Chip did a great job.
Yeah. So what did you learn this morning in that session, or what were you reconfirmed about?
I'm thinking of the questions that I didn't get right with the rest of the audience. I think certainly, one of the questions is, as we bring people back into the workforce, what's most important? Is it flexibility or is it pay? I think when it comes to bringing people back to corporate, it's being as flexible as we possibly can be in our workplace environments. The audience feels that it's more compensation and pay, and I do believe that's certainly the case out there in the field. National Housekeepers Week was 2 weeks ago. I had the opportunity to go out there with so many of our managed team members. Making beds and scrubbing toilets, and I know how short-staffed those housekeeping teams are.
They really are, and they need to be recognized as well. So
they need to be recognized, and they need to be paid more. And I think that was the sort of theme of that being, one of the questions that had a lot of learnings for all of us in the room there on stage.
So, Geoff, let me do a quick plug, because Cintas right now is doing these Shine Awards for housekeepers, right? Normally, I wouldn't throw this in the middle. I'm not getting paid on this. I want to do what the right thing is. Nominate a housekeeper at your property and let them know how much you appreciate them. They'll win a cash reward. You guys will win a lot of cleaning supplies for your property, too. So it's a win-win.
Many great opportunities to do that. I mean, the HLA Stars of the Industry is still open. You could still nominate that star housekeeper, and there's nothing more enjoyable. There's nothing more exciting for me than to see one of our, and we've seen housekeepers join us at Alice at that night under 8,000 shining stars, come up on stage and be recognized. So that's a great plug and something that we should do. I think it's one of the biggest debated. I debate this all the time. And I'm curious. I'll ask you, Glenn. What do you think is a tougher job in the industry?
There is no tougher job.
Dishwashers and stewards. So many of us have made beds. What would you rather do? Make beds or wash dishes?
I'd rather wash dishes than make beds, honestly.
Yeah.
A lot of it has to do with the bending over, the repetitive nature of it. I know dishwashing is repetitive, but it's a little bit different to me, you know? I don't think I can handle being a housekeeper every single day. And quite frankly, Jeff, I don't really make my bed much at home anyway because of that. So I'd be miserable at it, but they should get paid more. They should be engaged. So I'm just going to ask you one more question about the future of hospitality when it comes to people, right? There seems to be a big brain drain, physical body drain, people going to other industries. What would you say to folks that are interested in the hospitality business that'll make them love it to the degree that both you and I do?
Yeah. I mean, and that was another question today. What do we love most? What do we love most about the job?
Right.
And the answer in my mind is that no 2 days are the same, no 2 hours are the same in this industry as you rise through the ranks. And you look around this industry, and so many of us have been room attendants or dishwashers. And work our way up, but it's an industry that can take you absolutely anywhere you want it to take you. It's an industry where you'll always find a job. Starting in field operations, working in hotels, and my dream was always to make that step from dishwasher to busboy, and then aspire to be a waiter. And then I thought, gee whiz, if I could ever be a general manager, that would be the coolest job in the world. And it was.
Were you aware, though, that like after general manager, you could do all these other things and get to where you were?
It becomes infectious. I mean, it's an industry of people making other people feel great and making people smile and making people want to come back. And you see that when you're out in the hotel schools. And for those that want to begin in the field, it's just an incredible ride and incredible credibility for the rest of your career.
Beautiful. Before we wrap up, any final words, Geoff Ballotti?
No final words, Glenn. I know I see my very good friend Mehul, Mike Newcrest, Image Patel, who I got to share the stage with at the AHOA Young Professional Organization. AHOA is coming up again in April. Could you believe that? I mean, we're back at another AHOA in April.
All right, but, I can't believe it.
Let's welcome Mehul, Mike Patel.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much. We'll be back with that interview in just a little while. And by a little while, it could be another day. Who knows? I don't know. Geoff Ballotti, thanks so much for being here. Thanks to the audience for being here. We'll see you next time. Hey everybody, Glenn Hausman here, and I am at the Lodging Conference having such a great time. There's a lot of positive energy. There's a lot of exciting things happening, but nothing is exciting like having a chance to speak with the one and only Chip Ohlsson over at Wyndham, who runs development over there. Chip, so great to see you, man.
Great to see you again, Glenn. How you doing?
I'm doing really good. I'm having a great time at this event. It feels very invigorating to me. It feels great to be back to things. How are you and the franchise community feeling right now at this date and time?
We were excited to get out here. I'm a big proponent of meeting in person, right? We're in development. That's what we do. And then last night, we didn't know how well attended it was going to be, but when we went out on the lawn last night, under the stars, fireworks show going on, and you looked around and you saw well over 1,000 people here, probably 2,000 people here at the conference. It felt like we were back. Right. We've been to a few other conferences, and they were well attended, but not to the degree this has been. And so this is great.
This really does. Typically, this is like the kickoff to conference season, the Lodging Conference. This feels like the kickoff to hospitality all over again, right?
Totally agree. And that's the beauty of it. Look, we're in this business, right? To meet people, to say hello to people, to get to know what's happening out in the marketplace. And you can't do that over Zoom. You need to be in person and talk to people and have organic conversations. And so I feel like for the first time, we're having those organic conversations again.
Yes, but being that we are in the Zoom era, we're sitting next to each other, but refuse to look at each other because we still have to look through these screens, which is pretty funny. All right. So you've been making a lot of changes over there. And by changes, I mean adapting, innovating, continuing to push forward with what you're doing at all of your brands right now. And the biggest issues that we're dealing right now in the industry are being able to get stuff for your hotels and then getting people to work in your hotels. That labor issue is really coming up all over everywhere. Now, obviously, you're on the franchise side. You can't help get people to come into the building, but when you're designing prototypes, you can help rethink efficiencies. What is Wyndham doing in terms of thinking about its brands and helping alleviate some of the FTEs and other things that might be at properties?
You know, I'd like to say that we were so smart and we were ahead of the curve that we redesigned our prototype for Microtel Motor recently.
Right.
We did it about 2 years ago, and you know, sometimes luck is really important, but we designed that prototype because we did see some inefficiencies. We saw some costs that were layered into this. And now that prototype is being built for about $70,000 a key.
Wow.
And we shrunk the footprint down so much that it becomes one of the most efficient buildings. And you can run those, with very limited labor. And that's the important thing that people are looking at. So all throughout this pandemic or COVID or whatever you want to call it, we've actually been building a lot of hotels and selling a lot of new construction. And it's really been on Hawthorne, which we just redesigned the new prototype for that, and Microtel. La Quinta already had the Del Sol package out there, so it was, that was already redesigned.
That's been very successful for you.
Highly successful. It's probably, I tell everybody that we were so excited to get La Quinta because when you drive down an exit, you see that Del Sol. Out of all the hotels, it literally pops off the exit.
Right.
But with Microtel, we said we needed those efficiencies to really capture what Microtel is, being one of the most efficient hotels out there. And so we redesigned that prototype 2 years ago, and it really served us well.
So how does that actually affect the amount of people that are working in the building? What can be eliminated? How does all of that really come down to it in the end?
You know what? The one stat that I like to talk about or like to use is housekeeping. Right. Housekeeping is very tough to get employees right now. Well, if you're typically spending 35, 40 minutes to clean a room, you can only clean so many rooms in a day.
Right.
With Microtel, we're cleaning that room in about 22 minutes.
Wow.
So when you start talking about that and you realize the cost savings over the length of time is tremendous, because one housekeeper now can clean 1.5 rooms off a regular room, right?
Right.
So when you start talking about those efficiencies, you talk about, we have a pantry right next to the front desk. You don't have to bring in extra people for that. The expectation level of the guest is a little different, right? So you don't need all those layered in labor costs.
Right.
And when you have a room as efficient as that Microtel room is, right, there isn't a lot that needs to be fixed. There isn't a lot of things you need to go out of your way to do. So it becomes easy to manage and run.
So when you are engaging in conversations with people and saying, hey, partner with us on this particular project, what are some of the biggest issues that you're hearing from your franchisees out there that you want to make sure they're happy about?
Yeah, it depends. Two different schools of thought, right? From a new construction standpoint, we want to make sure that they are able to finance their building and they're able to get a good return on that. And returns are important across everything, conversions or new construction. But on new construction particularly, it's about what does it cost to build this building? So that's one of the things we do. On conversions, we look at, okay, what is our flexibility? Is it important that everybody has the same spread? Everybody has the same drapes. Everybody has the same carpet or furniture or FF&E. So we look at all that and say, what's important that keeps the brand identity out there? And that's important, whether it Days Inn, Super 8, Howard Johnson, you want to have that brand identity so people know when they walk in what hotel they're staying at. But you got to layer that in with what was recently done to the hotel. And so we want to make sure at the end of the day that our owners get the best return for their dollar.
Yeah, and really that's what it's all about right now. Before we wrap up, what are you most excited about being back on the road? Besides seeing people face to face, what did you miss most? Although I know you've been traveling a whole bunch over there, but I mean to these big events and stuff like that.
Yeah, we kind of, been traveling the whole time, but it's great to actually sit across and have meals with people. I think it is the important thing, right? You sit down and you talk business, but you need to make that connection. Somebody said it about a year ago. They said Zoom has worked because we've had these established relationships all along, and we're just building off those established relationships. What Zoom doesn't work is building that new relationship. So for us to be out on the road, be able to break bread with people and sit across from them and have those conversations of what's happening out there, that's where relationships get built. And that's what I'm excited about, meeting new people and building those relationships.
That is awesome. It's a brand new era in hospitality now. The slate is blank. We're open to lots of changes. Chip Ohlsson is making a lot of those things happen. Chip, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Glenn.
I really appreciate it. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching another episode, a little mini-sode of No Vacancy. We'll be back throughout the week with more great interviews here from the Lodging Conference. Thanks for watching. Everybody, Glenn Houghton here with another interview coming at you from the Lodging Conference. I'm very excited today because I've got someone that I've known for a long time in this business that I've admired and respected as he's built an incredible business. I'm talking about Greg Friedman of Peachtree, man. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Thanks for having me.
It was so much fun because today, as we're recording this, I got to host a general session panel. You got to be on a general session panel just before us. What does it feel like getting on that main stage and now having the industry recognize you as one of the top people in our business? That's a pretty heady experience, I would think.
Yeah, no, it's very nice. It's without question. We built a great platform, and it's great to have that respect and have that ability to be on the stage, but also just after going through COVID, being able to have everyone come together for the conference. It's great to be in this environment and starting to see us get back to normal life.
Yeah, it sure is. And I got to tell you, one of the things I really respect is your management company side of your business. You recently took everybody to Las Vegas because you recognize the burnout that's happening, how important it is for your team to be able to not just get through these days, but also prosper in it. How have you found stuff like that really helps you with the engagement of your staff and really keeping people employed and wanting to work as hard as they possibly can?
Yeah, I mean, I think doing those types of events, I think it definitely helps in regards to the burnout. I think our industry in general, beyond our company, I think all hotels are dealing with the staffing issues. Our GMs are working overtime trying to keep these hotels going and keep the ship moving in the right direction. So I think doing these types of events, we're doing a lot of other unique things to help to really help lighten the burden that these GMs and some of the other team members are facing at these hotels, and it's being able to do the event that we did in Vegas was a small token of our appreciation for what they're doing right now.
I like that you were out. You weren't necessarily about hey, this has to be a big meeting. It's more about celebrating the people. So how on the property level, you just said you're doing a lot of other things. What are you doing to make sure that they want to stay with you and not go down the road to another company?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, I think, candidly, we're trying to build an environment where people really, truly love to work for the organization. So I think a lot of it comes down in our culture. But then, more importantly, some stuff we're doing is, basically, because a lot of these GMs can't take time off because there's just, again, a short.
There's nobody to fill in for them.
Exactly. So what we're doing is we're actually rotating people corporately to go in and actually run these hotels for a couple of weeks at a time, and to help the GM to be able to go take time off, and they can actually take a trip, do whatever they want to do, and be away from the property for a week or two, and be able to know that the property is being well cared for because you've got someone that's capable of being the GM of that property while they're gone.
And I bet, Greg, if you're having corporate people come down and work at the property level, it kind of re-engages them with the experience that they haven't been a part of, probably gives them fresh ideas and allows the corporation to excel as well as people at the property.
Yeah, that's totally correct. I mean, I think it's a great way to put fresh eyes and to hopefully get from those fresh eyes, hopefully get some new ideas to get creative and find new ways to maybe even drive business into those hotels, or even a better way to service the customer.
Yeah, that's excellent. All right, so now the investment side of your business, the industry's been obviously through a tumult. You said on this stage this morning, I've been saying it, my partner Anthony has been saying it live on air. The deals we thought were going to happen just never materialized. How did you wind up recognizing that and then shifting a strategy to still find success in what is very bizarre market? No one expected.
Yeah, no, we so at the beginning of this pandemic, we were geared up and ready to go buy a bunch of hotels at steep discounts. At least that was the hope. The reality is it never really took place. But what we did also is we invest up and down the capital stack. So I think we have a really neat platform that we built that's beyond being very nimble. We have the ability to invest in on the equity where we buy hotels to own and operate, or develop hotels that we're going to own and operate, as well as we've gotten and actually lend to a lot of different ownership groups that own and develop hotels or acquire hotels. But what we did during this pandemic, we were able to sort of shift and go out and buy a lot of debt. So we were able to buy debt from different financial institutions looking to exit the hospitality business. We bought over 120 loans since the beginning of the pandemic. So over the last 15 months or so, we've been very active on the note trade, and that's where we found success. And we've only bought a handful of hotels on the real estate side, but it's just the opportunities there just haven't existed. It hasn't been the best use of our capital. What we found is buying these notes at discounted levels really provide us an opportunity to get a really good risk-adjusted return, and that's we feel like that's a little bit
Okay.
place to play.
So let me ask you a question in regard to that, because I'm a content guy, right? I know the business pretty well, I think, but not to the level someone like you does, particularly on the financial side. When you're talking about buying debt, how does that help you? How does that make you money? How does that put you into a better position?
Yeah, so we make money effectively, by being the lender. At that point in time, when we buy that note, it's our goal to come in, restructure that loan with the borrower. Because a lot of these loans are maturing, or there may be some, there may be covenant defaults, or whatever the case is, or maybe the borrower needs some additional forbearance. So we step in and we're going to work through an asset management and
restructure
those loans, and we make money by beyond getting a discount off
Right.
the purchase of the loan. So that there's a contract, effectively a loan document, a contract that the borrower owes a certain amount of money, and usually we're buying that at some type of discount. But we're also simultaneously collecting interest along the way, and waiting for them to refinance us at some point. Usually 24 to 36 months.
That makes a whole lot of sense now that I understand a little bit more. And it prevented, except you having to sit on the sidelines and miss out on opportunity. Now, I didn't see the whole panel because I had to go backstage and all of that, but you said you were shifting strategies to lead next year more to the equity side. Why do you think that'll be the right move next year, and how is that going to help you and your company be successful?
Sure. So, we own a company called Stonehill that's a direct, lender to the hospitality space. So, Stonehill is going to be extremely active, I think, next year. So we're still going to be doing a lot of investments on the debt side, but it's going to be us really making a direct loan if it's us providing a construction loan or an acquisition loan. But the reason I think the equity trades are going to really pick up is, I just think that you've got a couple of different factors pointing out right now. One is, I think a lot of hotels has a lot of deferred maintenance. A lot of hotels have PIPs that need to get completed that have been delayed because of COVID. I think a lot of hotel owners are probably hitting fatigue as well, especially if the markets haven't recovered as quickly as they expected.
Right.
So these are going to be some of the motivating factors. Not to mention, a lot of lenders are starting to push hotel owners to refinance or find some way to pay them off. So I think there's going to be, from my perspective, I think there's going to be a flood of opportunities on the equity side where groups are going to be looking to sell, and we think that's going to help continue this trend of being able to find, because as there's more opportunities out there on the sell side, we're going to be more likely to find some good investment opportunities on the equity side. And that's why we think it's going to pick up, and we're actually seeing it in our pipeline right now. So we're actually under contract on 5 different assets right now. So we're moving towards, and we're hard on 3 of those. So we're moving towards closing on those over the next couple of weeks.
So on the handful of assets that you're talking about right now, I probably the strategy is different from what you're going to do with each one of them. But I guess some of them will probably go as it is, maybe just follow a pivot. But you also have a chance to maybe reinvent and reposition properties. Is that something you're thinking about here?
Yeah. So I mean, there's when we buy assets, it's one is to step in and operate the hotel more efficiently or effectively than the previous ownership group, which that can mean coming in, stepping in, and putting in new revenue management strategies and leveraging Vicky, who runs our revenue management team, and Patrick Short, who's the president of our property management team. They do a great job not only controlling expenses but really pushing the top line and revenue managing these hotels. In a lot of cases, they do it a little bit more effective. So it could be more operational strategies. Also could be capex driven, where there's PIPs and things like that need to be completed in order to make the hotel more competitive. And then we also do a fair amount of conversions. We're working on a couple of those right now, where we'll buy maybe an independent hotel and convert it to one of the brands with like a Hilton or Marriott, for instance.
Right. Great. This has been really interesting and informative. Greg, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Quinn.
Yeah, for sure. That was great. All right, so just to sum up for everybody really quick, there's a lot of opportunity out there, not the type of opportunity that might be obvious. That's why people like Greg have been so successful. He sees things that others don't. So get out there, make some bold moves, and maybe you too can find great success.